Ramp Magic for only $20? Let's go. Core, Welcome Set, and Divine Order only. You guys asked for it. Let's take a look. So I'm playing this Ramp Magic deck that I built during Weekend Ranked. Played 4 matches, won 3 of them. I made one minor change here. I took out some Ramparts, which are a 0/6 wall. It's not normally a good card, and you should never really play it. However, in this deck, we're just trying to really stall with a bunch of walls. And it is a structure, and Defend the Ramparts loves structures. So you can make an argument for Rampart in this deck. However, I put in Soothsayer instead, and thus far, it's working out pretty well. So let's take a look at this deck, see if it can win during Weekend Ranked in Mythic. So what is the point of this deck? How does it work? What's our win condition? Basically, this is ramp magic. Our goal is to unlock our mana locks and ramp up to 8 mana as quick as possible. So we have the Mana Toad, which has an afterlife, unlock a mana lock. We've got the Sip of Elixir, it's a spell, it unlocks a mana lock. Between these 2 cards, that is 4 mana that we can ramp that our opponent can't. We'll be way ahead on the mana wheel, and we'll be able to start dropping our big drops before our opponents even know what hits them. So once we start unlocking things, in the meantime, we're also playing things like Bronze Gate, which is just a wall. It can't even attack. We're playing things like Soothsayer, just trying to draw cards. For C3 is ridiculously nice. There's a ton of value here on the 4C3. You can shuffle through your cards effectively, pick out the ones you want, and if you're a late game and you need to find a Healing Elite, boom, you can shuffle through 3 cards. If you want to get rid of all 3, you can even grab the 4th card. That is a ton of value. If you are early game and you need to find your All-Seeing Spires, you can do that. Let's take a look at All-Seeing Spire, because this is one rock star of a card. This is an Order 10 at the start of your turn, 4C1. At the end of your turn, draw a card. Because it has order, your opponent can't attack it, they can't hit it with a relic, they have to kill it with the spell, or some type of non-combat damage like an archer. So for 3 mana, at the absolute worst, you get to draw a card at the end of your turn. And the upside is that you'll be drawing cards every turn. Also at the start of your turn, you get to force C1, which means you get to decide if you want to keep the card you're about to draw or not. There's so much value in this card. This card, I would mulligan for it in almost every single matchup. If you're playing against Nature, where they have a lot of things like Canopy Barrage, you do need to make sure you're wide before you drop the All-Seeing Spire. At the very least, play like a Bronze Gate and then the All-Seeing Spire. Cards like Miraculous Familiar are just going to be such value-adding cards here. This is Blessed, which means you can gain a bunch of favor and then grab something from the Sanctum. And every single turn that you play a spell after you've dropped this, you get to add a random spell to your hand. Now, sometimes they'll be garbage, but sometimes they're going to be phenomenal and just win you games. The Labyrinth Guard is just a rock star in this deck. He is frontline, can attack, armor 1. Anything with armor is insane. A 4/8 with armor and frontline, that's just really tough to deal with. If your opponent is playing aggro and they just have a ton of little creatures, they're going to have to all get chewed up by this Labyrinth Guard. And then you just drop a second one, and they're very sad about it. The Cyclops Defender is basically the same thing, but it's 7 mana, and it can attack. So this is where your win conditions start. If your opponent's playing really fast, small aggro creatures, once you drop a Cyclops Defender or 2, that can just win you the game right there. It kills all their creatures. You can just start hitting face. And the real winner here is the Healing Elite. This is your win condition for sure. It's got protected. It's got frontline. It's a 10/12. These things hit face just a couple times and your opponent is dead. And we also have 1 Inferno here, which is very nice. It does 5 damage to each enemy creature. This is a nice board wipe for magic. So things that I would look for in the mulligan, we already said the All-Seeing Spire for sure. This is going to help you just build up a massive hand. Sip of Elixir and Mana Toad, those are your ramp cards. Those are the things that are going to unlock your mana, so you definitely want one of those. And maybe even a Star Shard Bolt or a Tracking Bolt, maybe a Bronze Gate, a Vanguard Axewoman, even a Soothsayer might be fine. You just want your early cards here, Defend the Ramparts. Things like that are going to be fine, as long as you can control the board. Anytime your opponent drops a real threat, make sure you're taking it out. Ramp as quickly as possible, Get to your big creatures. Use things like Crystal Rain and Inferno to just wipe your opponent's board. And then start dropping your big walls and win the game. So let's take a look at the very first game I played with this deck and see how it went. Alright, we got the All-Seeing Spire. That is key. We definitely don't need a 7-drop yet. I'm not going to keep the Rampart. We don't need 2 All-Seeing Spires. But if he can kill 1, then we're in trouble. Deception does have a lot of spells that can probably kill this. Mugging, cheating it twice. Let's keep it. It's kind of going to be our win condition here.
Fingers
So
crossed.
we can't do anything on turn 1.
The possibilities are endless.
We're drawing a lot of our top end here. We do not want to draw that yet. If he kills this, at worst, we got to draw a card with it. So it's a 3-mana draw card. And the upside of this card is ridiculous. So we can start ramping immediately here. So he cheats it once. Which means next turn he plans on killing it. But we're going to get to 4C. Ooh, we get to ramp again. Let's keep that for sure. So because we now have options, I'm going to go ahead and ramp. And use the Vanguard Axewoman here to kill that. We get to draw an extra card. And he'll cheat this to death, but he's wasting most of his mana to just get rid of this. He'll be sad when we play another one.
The possibilities are endless.
So we can unlock End Bronze Gate, perhaps. It would be nice to get another All-Seeing Spire out. Definitely want to ramp. That will mean next turn we get 6 mana. We get to skip the half mana turn here. We do this, it's likely he just cheats his way through it, but I think that's fine. Again, make him waste half his mana just to hide this.
For your own good.
And then we're just 2 turns away from the Cyclops Defender. And he can start cheating stuff, but once we get multiple front lines out, he's not going to be able to cheat them, so.
This looks promising.
And I was going to say, once we find something like Crystal Rain, that will be very helpful. In fact, let's rain immediately. We're going to get to 4C here, which is helpful. That is a beautiful sight to behold. Let's keep it. And let's just get another frontliner out. Now he can't just cheat his way through both. This one still has order, but it won't next turn. So if he does 2 damage here, it only does 1. He's going to draw a card. So we're just going to drop that 6. Hunting only does 1. So he can cheat his way through this turn and do 6 damage, but then we get the 6/10 out, and he can't cheat both. And then a few turns later, we have the Helion Elite. We can get the All-Seeing Spire out, start drawing extra cards.
This looks promising.
This might be tricky. Well, at least they tried.
So he has no hunting traps left. Assassin's Aim hurts, but...
Alright, let's dance. Illyrian, so boring.
Well, we have Tracking Bolt, can take this out. And then maybe get the All-Seeing Spire out to start drawing some cards. Can also trade the 6/9 over here. Next turn we're going to be at 8 no matter what. We don't need to ramp.
That's enough for now.
You've been under my spell for years.
The possibilities are endless.
Ratify is interesting, though we don't really need it. Miraculous Familiar we also don't need. What we could use is another Helion Elite.
This might be tricky.
Just gonna play it safe here. Take out as much stuff as we can.
This
Hey,
is
there's the other
going to be
Helion Elite.
So much fun.
You have to be careful about going too wide, as he likely has a Rapture Dance. Though Rapture Dance is not going to go through the protected, so that might be okay. We could actually Volca, unhide these, ratify this. Would pop my own protected though.
Focus.
All right, let's dance.
Let's take the easy road here.
Say the magic word,
I
Illyrian.
don't think he can get through all this front line. What's he looking for? That's 5 mana that can kill 4 massive frontline creatures.
Oh,
That must have hurt.
This will put one of them to sleep. It's the one that can attack. GG. So there you have it. This deck can absolutely win at Mythic during weekend ranked against decent competition. That being said, people with greedier control decks are definitely going to have their way with this deck. Demos, Jasons, things like that are going to just chew this deck up for sure. But most people don't have those cards. So against aggro type decks, which is the bulk of the meta, you might be able to just have your way with people. Even upgrading this deck just in a few ways would probably get you a lot more wins, but it's very expensive. I hope you guys found this helpful. Make sure you hit that sub button. We'll keep doing more free-to-play decks, and I'll see you guys next time.